Well, exactly 5 o'clock in the evening. My name is Samrat Ghosh. I am your host for the evening. As you all know, that GLIBTALK is my initiative. It's been over 6 to 7 months that I've started this initiative where I interview a commoner. Not too much getting into it because a lot of you already know what the initiative is all about. Every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. in the evening, I actually conduct this online talk show where I actually get people from the different walks of their life, different facets, different kind of journey, different experiences, different everything. My endeavor is apparently to get different people, not only from the corporate professionals or the leagues, they are from different genres, different demographies of the country. It looks like a closed room kind of a conversation today. It's fantastic, but that's not what the initiative is. We don't want to commercialize it or make it absolutely something to make money out of it, because you know that this is purely out of my passion. I'm a former radio jockey with the Red FM 93.5 way back 10 years. I had to let my radio thing go, but the passion somehow stayed inside me. Since then, well, pandemic has apparently pushed me to do this, where the entire world was getting fatigued in terms of webinars and the Gyan sessions and the lecture sessions. I thought doing something different. Well, it took me about 1 week to come up with this initiative called GLIBTALK, because Glib is thoughtless, Glib is easy, Glib is just slippery. There is nothing serious about this conversation, but to learn about somebody's journey, about their successes and their failures. I have a series of guests who have come in already in the past, and you guys are so fantastic that you are there in this particular WhatsApp groups or the social media handles that GLIBTALK has. It has grown organically with your unconditional support and love and affection. So tahe dil se aap sabka bahut bahut shukriya. I can't thank you guys more. Well, today I have another guest, very different. The first time ever, I've gotten hold of somebody who is not from the typical corporate background. Halaki, she has worked in the media industry, being a professional, and to name Whiscraft International, but she kind of let her corporate life go and started something on her own, something around wellness, something around lifestyle. I am not very familiar, and pardon my ignorance, because that is something that I'm about to unravel in this particular conversation that I'm going to have with my guest for the evening. Well, here I welcome graciously Shivli Bembey, who has joined us from Gurgaon, Delhi NCR. We are kind of in the same state, Delhi NCR. And I don't want to talk much about her, because every time I kind of give only all the introduction, but there is nothing left for my guest to say anything to my audience. So this time I thought I will shut up, I will let my guest give the introduction in a brief manner, and then we carry on with the conversation. However, before we get started, as my request that I put across on this particular platform to all of you, that if you search hashtag GLIBTALK on Google, you will find my social media handles. It has grown from 0 to 200 plus. There are two beautiful WhatsApp groups. There are more than 350 odd people who are supporting this. And I am getting a lot of other ideas also, because there are a lot of people approaching me and saying that how do we take it to the next level? Well, that's a secret. We'll talk about it a little later. But here it is the time to talk to Shivli. Shivli, welcome. A very warm welcome, and welcome to GLIBTALK 5.0.
Thanks, Amar. It's so lovely that you're creating this forum where people can learn from real life experiences and can see that there is a human side to people and a humane side to people when they start and pursue their passion. And yeah, it's very interesting that people are ready to hear out your story and they're ready to share the experiences. So I'm here to do the same. Would you like me to introduce myself
Just
quickly?
very quick in a brief manner, and then I'll take it forward from there.
Okay, so I'm currently back in India after 5 years, and I have recently launched a brand, a wellness brand called the Wow Life. The Wow stands for Wheel of Wellness. And basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a practical approach to wellness, so that wellness is not just metaphysical and just, for the luxury, and it's not just, it's and all the baggage that it has, which is it's overwhelming and it's only for a selected few people, and it's only something if you have the time and the luxury you want to do it. We want to break those myths. You want to make it real, practical, enjoyable. So what we try and do is basically turn changing your lifestyle from intense to interesting, because I think everyone should live a very interesting, happy, healthy, and a holistic life. So yeah, that's the whole approach and the idea. And now we're in India. I had a brand in Dubai before this, which was called Chakra Yogis. And it was again based on energy and wellness. And now we're taking a more reality and more practical approach.
Thank you very much. I was just about to talk about wow life. Wow has a different meaning and different connotation altogether, which we will get to know in due course of the conversation. And as you all know the drill, that first half an hour, 35, 40 minutes, me and Shivli, we will talk. And towards the end, I will take your questions. So please feel free to raise your hand or put your questions in the chat box. We would be more than happy to unmute you and let your questions to be answered by Shivli as and when it comes. Well, as we know, that wow life, Shivli, we will come to that. But before that, I have your entire journey to cover in the next few minutes during this conversation. Why don't you let me know? Because, जो मैंने देखा है, all this while being my radio stint, in my corporate life, in Clip Talk as an initiative, मैंने देखा है कि जो आप एक इनिशिएटिव लेते हो ना पहली बार, first time when you start something, you have to go through certain understood struggle periods. है ना, मतलब आपको कोई जानता नहीं है, no one knows about you, you just starting something, हाँ ये भी आ गया, अच्छा तू भी करेगा, अच्छा you are also doing this, so there is so much of apprehension that gets into people's head. But they forget that over a period of time, if the leap of success that once you're going to embark upon, these are the people who apparently ignored you, would be the one who will come and say, hey, do you know me? I was there, etc. So bachpan se, coming back, keeping this context out here, wanted to go ahead and know about your journey, because your bio has a brilliant articulation in terms of you being born in the lap of Himalayas. You come from a family and a background which is in Chakra Yoga, which is very, very unconventional and nothing very, very familiar to a lot of us. There are misconceptions. There are people who actually have they articulate their set of definitions, which is they think they're paramount in their knowledge, but that's actually nothing but a farce. I'm sorry to say this because those ignorances cannot be pardoned. If you do not know something in and out, you cannot comment on it. So, bachpan se leke will come to wow life and a little bit about your family. So, why don't you let us know कि आप कहाँ से हो exactly when I specifically mentioned the lap of Himalayas. So, a little bit about your background, your family, yourself, your academics, and then we take it forward.
So, what is very interesting is I was actually born in Simla, but I never grew up there. But I was dragged every weekend there because my parents are these little crazy hippies. I was born to a set of very strong, authentic individuals, be it a man who's my father or the woman, and everybody had equal amount of importance given to them in my family. So I saw two very strong women, which is my nani and my mother, and like I always say, they were like curious cats. They were constantly, even if they were born with the gift of chakra yoga, they practiced it and they teached it, but they did never monetized it. But what they did was every day they kept on adapting and they were ready to reinvent the cycle. So they weren't like a cult nahi shuru kiya unhone. They weren't like, this is our birthright, this is what it is, you have to follow it stringently. No, there's 7 energy centers, they need to be balanced because we all need to live a balanced life. So why don't we every day kind of figure out what's working, what's not? So the term experiential, which is very popular these days, is actually what they really did. So my background as a child, going back, is been a very experiential thing. कि आप वो कहते हैं ना गर्म पानी में हाथ डालें तो पता लगता है कि कितना गर्म है और हाथ कैसे जलेगा, तो मेरे को हर चीज ऐसे ही एक्सपीरियंस कराई गई थी. सो beyond the school learning, I had this lovely learning at home where everything that you had to go and actually experience. If you, we were gardening. So I come from a very small town called Summerhill, and it was the summer capital actually for India during the British Raj. And वहाँ Jabdi Met का train station है छोटा सा. And so yeah, it's a very sweet university town, just about 15 minutes before Simla. And my dad he just retired 2 months back from the MES, which is Military Engineering Services. and my mother was always a homemaker. And but so we've lived a life where we would pick up our car and we would off road and go to different parts like Tibet border and all these places, and just experience and learn from different stories, like your initiative where people are getting to know my story. I met a lot of people whose stories I learned from as a child, because there was so much traveling involved thanks to my dad's army background and my mom's nature of going and sharing her knowledge everywhere. So बहुत मजा आया, बहुत सारे लोगों से मिले, and what you really learn from people's experiences is far and beyond the textbook. So when you do these shorter courses that you're talking about, where you want to become whatever you want to, and you get so many of these courses these days, 14 days yoga teacher, 14 days this, 14 days that. No, you need to take a journey, and it's a journey, trust me, which is a difficult one, because you have to take a journey inside you. So I've been very blessed as a child in terms of born in Himachal, studied in Chandigarh, and then I went to UK to do my masters in films. So that's been my journey in the initial part.
Brilliant. Well, that's the story is unfolding, ladies and gentlemen. You will get to know a lot more about her journey, about her story, about the successes and the failures, about Shivli, who is our guest for the evening. A lot of you have just joined a little later, so that was a quick introduction to yourself. So, Shivli, you said that your father was in the military engineering services. Did that never influence you to get into military services? या फिर trying to be a pilot, or those lines like the aviation group, because आप जब एक परिवार का एक influence होता है, because we always look up to our parents first, right, since our birth, because that's how the phenomena works. So how did you never get influence, or was it something that you were very very clear बचपन से ही मतलब दिमाग में था, जब ever since you were there in your you started learning things, understanding things? How did it never influence you to get into that kind of a field? And then I'll come to your film education part and being in UK.
So for me, it was extremely natural. Firstly, I found the men in uniform very good looking, but I never wanted to be in the uniform. So that was never the criteria. I would love hanging out with all my dad's friends, because they were so chivalrous and they were so kind, and they made me learn that chivalry is not just a man needs to do it. It's not a sexist thing. Everyone needs to be chivalrous, bade, chote, all of that. So I was inspired from a point of view of how you are mannered, how you can curate life, how do you speak, all of that. The discipline, definitely understanding that yes, in life you can be as artistic as you can, but structure is very important. But no, I was never very keen in joining the forces in any which way. Not that I was told to ever become, and I am one of those very lucky few, and I feel very blessed, who said ki doctor bano, engineer bano, lawyer bano, all of that. No, but yes, I think my father kind of felt that because I was good at studies, that मैं एक IAS officer बन सकती हूँ, और उन्होंने मुझे कहा था वो लाल बत्ती वाली गाड़ी मिलेगी यार शिवली. So he tried to tempt me with that, but नहीं, वो ऐसा नहीं हुआ. And I think I tried anything and everything, and that's again, like I said, I'm lucky to have those very true, strong, independent women in my life who said, आज तुमको साइकिलिंग ट्राई करनी है, कल स्पोर्ट्स ट्राई करना है, डांसिंग ट्राई करनी है, लिखना है. I used to change tires with my father, so I used to
Wow.
enjoy it. I genuinely feel I'm one of the, women are told that they're the worst drivers. You want to come, we'll try drive with me, and you'll see the difference. But yeah, I mean, I never had that pressure or the temptation. I never knew what I wanted to do. I just went with the flow. So that's been a blessing for me.
So the one that you picked up is, I think that's a brilliant way of putting it across when you said that not only men, they will have to be chivalrous. It's about chivalrous is applicable for every human being, irrespective of the gender. That's a great takeaway. I think a lot of you out here, there's always been said there are male chauvinists. No, there are female chauvinists too. And I'm not trying to be gender biased. I'm just being very neutral. Okay, so learning films, ye kahan se aaya? I mean, that's something very, very contrastful. And then you switching over to this, which will come again after our conversation for some time. So learning films, ye kahan se inspiration aapko mili ki that you went abroad to study films and productions and everything?
So this was actually, the thing is, so I'll make the long story short. So my mother, even after, so this whole concept of healers out there, or practitioners, counselors, coaches, all of this is, the idea is that they're also human. Like my mother was manic depressive. She would have these episodes as a child that really confused me. So my inclination towards psychology was positive psychology, was since childhood. And I would read a lot of books, and this was not told to me. It wasn't expected from me. I took it as an initiative from myself because I wanted to see my mother better. We were a nuclear family. My parents ran away from home and got married. They had that proper love story. And so when I would see my mother in distress, and there would be days I would see her so confident because she's teaching yoga and she's teaching chakra yoga. But then there were days where she was really, really stressed, and she was completely, like, she wouldn't understand what's happening to her because of manic depression. So that's where I would read a lot about positive psychology. And I was quite sure that wellness is the space I want to go to. But then I remember when I finished my 12th standard and I was supposed to go to college, that's when she had a chat with me and she said, Shivli, aur kuch karna hai, which is not a chat many kids have from their
Right,
parents.
right,
And I'm like, Mom, I like everything which is related to art. I think I'm one profession, if there was a profession, and I'm sure it is somewhere in one part of the world, is I make the best audience in the world. I can enjoy anything and everything. And for me, I was like, anything related to arts, anything which is not 9 to 5, I think will be fine because I will never be on time. So that was my fear of being 9 to 5. And so basically, the idea was that she said, I don't want you to have regrets.
right.
She said, go try whatever you want because wellness तो तुम्हें legacy में मिल गई है.
Hmm.
अब तुम उसको, will you nurture it as a tree, will you keep it alive, is also something that you will understand if you take another route and then you take a conscious call of would you want to go back to this, or have you taken this for granted, or you don't even want to be a part of it.
Correct.
Was something really beautiful that she said. And actually, for my graduation, I did correspondence. I was one of those kids who took a risk, didn't go to college. And first year, I got through Jet Airways. I was supposed to fly for them. Second year, I was supposed to work for the ticketing, one of the ticketing companies across the globe because travel had become very big. Everyone was going on the cruise to Singapore and Thailand. Every middle class family was taking that trip, or to Dubai. And then last year, I actually fell in love with a guy, and he was planning to go and do his masters in UK, and I was like, okay, chalo, chalte.
Huh?
And and I always used to write and used to always make up stories, and I thought films would be the best thing. And I remember that was the time cinema was taking a turn, and these individual films started coming, the indie films that started coming, and yeah, so it just seemed very exciting to go and do film and media production and study again, going back to the fact that I never wanted to do any profession without getting proper knowledge and practice. And that's what I did. I went and did my master's in film and media, and I went up north in Sheffield in UK, and I had my first live-in at 21. So my parents were very sweet and supportive, and that's also a part of my story. So yeah.
Oh, that's so there's a story behind. I think it takes a lot of courage, and I really appreciate that you're so vocal, you're so candid, and that's exactly what Glib Talk is all about. Not a lot of people they feel very comfortable talking about their relationship or their past, very out and open to everybody, especially in a public forum. But that's where I highly appreciate your honesty. And I remember having a similar kind of a conversation when we were discussing about this initiative. So, okay, थोड़ा digress हो जाता है तो at the age of 21, right? जहाँ पे the maturity that you have at this stage in your life, do you you said that auntie ने आपको कहा कि try everything but I'll never regret. So do you regret that particular relationship that you were into? It had a blessing in disguise because that kind of inspired you to go abroad and study. And you are there at the very first stepping stone of your future journey professionally, and you had a set thought process that वो होता है ना टीनेजर, अब जब टीनेज से जब निकलते हो, दैट यू आर वेरी सीरियस अबाउट सम रिलेशनशिप दैट यू रियली गेट इनटू, ये मेरा फ्यूचर है, ऐसे मैं इसको देखना चाहती हूँ या फिर देखना चाहता हूँ, दिस इज माय वर्ल्ड, द पेरिफेरी दैट वी एक्चुअली क्रिएट. So had that been the case, would it have been successful? I think by now you've been married, but वो हुआ नहीं किसी तरीके से. So do you regret that decision, that you have taken a wrong step probably, or what is your thought on it?
See, I have been able to take all the decisions in my life uh, where I've been able to break the cliches. And again, I keep on repeating this because it's just made me more humble and humble. Not that I haven't had, it sounds all fancy and it sounds really great, but it came with its a lot of its own struggles. Um, because so we were two people in love, confused, very passionate about cinema, and I'm talking to you now, and trust me, I can talk forever and hours. That time I was this completely mute little girl, very coy, very woo. So I was this lotus, and what going abroad did, and what uh, taking a course abroad did, which came with its own set of challenges. We didn't get, so I was from a middle class family. I wanted ki ek, so we had to do cover two subjects. So I wanted direction because सबको director बनना था उस time पे, और दूसरा मैं चाहती थी technical मिल जाए, like a camera person or editor, कि मतलब दुकान चलती रहे, कि I could pay my bills and everything.
खान चलती रहे.
हम जब वहाँ पहुँचे तो वो हमें दिया नहीं उन लोगों ने.
अच्छा.
And plus being a producer. Now, as a concept in India, being a producer was all about लाला जी, कि आप पैसे देते हो और फिल्म फाइनेंस करते हो और बात खत्म हो जाती है.
Correct.
और आपका एक ईपी होता है, वो उसका वो बना देता है schedule, and that's about it. And now imagine half my lakhs of salary is going into studying production, जो इंडिया में जाके यूज ही नहीं होना है.
Correct.
So, but these things make you realize that now pick up anything and everything. And it takes you through such a beautiful journey where I remember in the summer, we could not afford to come back where everybody else went back. And मैं बर्तन धो रही थी. And actually, there was a time in my life I made more money बर्तन धोते हुए वहाँ than I made money here.
My God.
So I was, but it was lovely because I was in the middle of this beautiful landscape where there were sheep running around. I work in a cafe जहाँ मेरे को बहुत अच्छी तरह बर्तन धोने पड़ रहे थे. But it made me come out, like I said, made me blossom like a lotus because there was no option. When you live alone, when you go abroad and you're in a different country, a different setting, different set of people, you're bracing up your English, you're bracing up your manners, you're understanding the dynamics. And another learning from there was do not try and, I mean, it's beautiful to adapt to a new country and you should, but what is more important is you respect their culture. Don't expect them to turn around and accept you the way you are. I'm not saying don't be authentic. The last thing I am not is I'm constantly authentic. I don't know any other way but to be that. But I started adapting to their culture, to the way they would talk, the way, not that I got an accent, which my father was very disappointed. इतना कैसा खर्चा किया और accent भी नहीं है. थोड़ा बहुत है, but बड़ा normal है. And but the fact is, I started understanding how they view life, how they socialize, how it's very interesting how you start respecting whatever that you get, because the lifestyle in itself there you can't take for granted. Like for example, a maid. You can
Right.
take for granted having a maid, whereas there I couldn't. I was the maid or you're the boss, you're the same person. So yeah, it was very interesting, helped me blossom into this social person, this person who's interactive, and yeah, and something that I would have not had. I would have been a very sweet, simple wellness coach.
Yeah.
This hyper energy wellness coach.
So after finishing your masters, why didn't you pursue your career there in UK itself? What made you come back to India? That's something very interesting to know, probably. Or were you homesick that हो गया घर जाना है? नहीं, ऐसा नहीं?
I wasn't homesick at all. I loved everything about that country except the bloody weather, which many people would say, sorry for my language.
Oh, very depressing, yeah.
Wet and cold is not a combination that I fancy. But no, this was actually the recession time, and recession hit really bad. I did my internship with BBC One, and it was good fun. but we never took, nobody gave us the job. So I'll be extremely honest that we were very heartbroken. We thought कि हाँ मिल जाएगी job and we'll be able to stay there. But media at that time was a very premium, very premium profession. So you would have a lot of strugglers even in UK. Trust me, when people think only strugglers are India, no, media has a lot of strugglers and everyone wanted to be a filmmaker. But very few places that were actually funding films. So I mean, next, where do you go? You come home, and the next pit stop, I remember I landed in Delhi and I took a straight flight to Bombay. I didn't even go home. You're talking about being homesick.
Right.
I straight went to Bombay, and I'm like, इससे पहले सब भूल जाओ मैं बॉम्बे जा रही हूँ.
Okay, so that's what your little stint about your education, about pursuing your masters. Then you joining Witscraft, which is one of the most renowned brand across the globe, and definitely there in the country, in the film fraternity. So you shared your story in terms of that, kaise you were told to pursue your passion, do experiments, fail and stand up, and then just do what you love. Now, having worked in the media industry, where you just had, I think, plethora of an opportunities just coming your way. Uh, Somebody who has come from abroad, done their masters in films, they are really, really welcomed very graciously. So, did you have your struggle period despite of having that foreign certificate, where would typically people are not from National School of Drama or they are struggling, studio ke dhakke kha rahe hain, etc. But you came with that kind of a, with that crown on your head that yes. So, did you have your struggle period, and what are the lessons or the failures, a little bit about story that you want to just share it in a crispier manner, probably?
I love the fact that you said I had a crown on my head. I thought I had a crown on my head and it was kicked out in a second. Like, I remember, see, Bombay has a very different, half the person I am today, I give credit to Bombay. Bombay teaches you how. I mean, it grounds you in how, and it's so beautiful. And then if you're a part of media, trust me, it's just amazing. It shapes you up as a person as a whole. It's an experience I would tell everyone to get. You love it or hate it. There's no middle path when it comes to Bombay. And I remember, because I told you, like, I took the flight directly from the airport in Delhi to Bombay. My father came to visit me in my struggling period. और मेरे को लगा कि मेरी तो डिग्री है बाहर से, मुझे तो they'll take me up very happily and all of that. कुछ नहीं. The attitude that people in Bombay that time had was, क्या आपको practical knowledge है? क्या आपने काम किया है? क्या आपको पता है लाइटमैन से कैसे बात करना है? कि ग्रिप वालों को कैसे बात करना है? क्या आप ऑडिशंस ले सकती हैं? आपने क्या क्या किया? So मेरे को तो simply that was true. I also faced a lot of times where I was hit on, and this was very weird because for me it was really funny because my dad's like, "चलो तुम जा रही हो ये meeting में मैं भी चलता हूँ साथ में." So my father is literally sitting outside where I'm being interviewed inside, and someone's trying to hit on me, and I was that was very very weird, and I was like, नहीं मेरे को जॉब चाहिए, and I was very, and luckily मैं मुंह फट थी, तो I was able to say कि if you want to date me or ask me out, then this is not the place.
Right.
And you're very stupid if you're at a certain position that you would take the risk of hitting on me where I'm trying to get a job here. So these were the two things that happened. So it took me about, but yes, it took me about 15 days, which is not really long a time of a struggle to get my first job, which was actually with UTV.
Okay.
UTV Spotboy had done its first film, and Amir was the name of the film. It was one of those first indie films that was made, and उसको हमने full guerrilla shoot किया था, and बहुत मजा आया था. But yeah, that was my initial experience where I thought everybody would welcome me with open arms कि बाहर की डिग्री लेके आए हो कि नहीं, with your practical knowledge है कि नहीं. And but no, somebody saw potential in me, and they gave me a place, and we were able to work in a structured way. So I started my actually journey in production. So
Okay.
I worked as a production assistant.
So you got an opportunity to pursue something which was in line with your academics. There's a city of dreams. You landed in India, straight from Delhi, went to Bombay to pursue your career. Obviously, in the initial stages, because of certain hiccups, and you know how media industry works. I've been a part of it myself. I know how men are also hit on in certain ways and how women are hit
All
on
industries. I am not saying this is particular. This is a thing in all
everywhere. Yeah.
man, woman. It doesn't really matter. If you're in a place of power, you should be more humble, and you should make. That's what I said. When I work with corporates, you have to make your workplace a safe workplace, and
True.
safety starts with respect.
Absolutely.
So any gender needs to be respected. So
Respect.
yeah.
So then you saw that, you start, as I said, you start with UTV, and you were in production. So you had your path of elevation, right? Whatever you have picked up, and you probably saw a career or a dream coming true where you have that potential. Someone picked you in terms of, hey, she's the one who can do this particular job, and you fit the bill, right? So then when you actually gotten into that, but normally it doesn't happen with lot. They pursue something as far as their academics are concerned, they get into something else. Like I'm a master's in journalism and mass communication. I wanted to get into television. My dream thing was I would be a news anchor. Dr. Prannoy Roy was, is, and always would be my godfather, where I would do, television, and not this typical shouting and screaming and all this shit that happens. But I'm just very being honest that the typical ethics, that typical news reporter, somebody who really want to bring in the real change in the nation, etc., etc., etc. I've got into radio accidentally, which I never thought. One of my friend who apparently said, I'm just, and there's a long story around it, but it happened because it was in my destiny. So when I actually thought that, okay, I planned for something, something else happened, but it was nearly similar to each other. But I had my family pressure. My dad was not in for it and did not want to let me pursue as a profession. That was a different thing altogether. I made my conscious decision. But coming to you, having been there, doing it, then changing over to founding Wow Life. That's a huge, huge transformation. At what inflection point in your life it apparently struck the chord in your head that I have that legacy of my family and I really want to pursue it?
So my journey from my first job till I hit my 30 was a constant journey where, see, my mom has played a very big role, and her being, like I said, manic depressive. And I was genetically disposed to depression. Like even now, I have a weak nervous system, even if I'm a wellness coach. The fact is that when you have someone like that in your family, for example, I could never, I think I've never ever been someone who's had a job for more than a year. I was always a freelancer because there could be times where I would get a call that mom's not well and I have to go back home. So that was something that I had to make sure I should be able to adapt to. So for me, my struggles was always finding freelance work so that I could finish a job in a proper period because I'm a very extremely committed person like that. And then I would move to another thing. And whenever I'm called, I can go back there. So for me, what was interesting was I had this journey through television, through advertising. I worked for Publicis, then I went to Whiscraft, and then we went to South Africa and we shot across the globe and we did a lot of very interesting work. But at 30 is when so in the course of first job to the last job, I kept on doing a lot of courses and practicing and traveling whenever I took my breaks, which was related to wellness. So I became a hypnotherapist, which took me 5 years. So while I was studying, working as a media professional, wellness was never left behind. It was something that I just didn't want to leave and I wanted to keep on studying. I became a certified counselor, then I finished my coaching certification. So this whole journey from 21 to 30 was also studying parallelly wellness and putting it into a experiential thing, like I said, because I was volunteering. I started two NGOs of my own where I was teaching kids how to bring wellness in their life through street theater. So हम जाके नुक्कड़ नाटक करते थे अलग अलग जगह पे to bring in that awareness. And then at 30, the big thing happened where I was again a man in my life and I was proposed marriage and everyone was like a big 30, get married and everything. And that did not happen. And that's when I was like, acha chalo, it's kind of a sign or something, because I'd left my job also. So I said, abhi kaam bhi nahi hai, kuch bhi nahi hai, to chalo, it's great time to go reconnect. I went to Thailand for a year. I went to practice constantly for, I started learning moving meditation, because that's when I started feeling a little down and out, because that was a low period for my time. Everything was ready, we were supposed to get married, it did not happen. And so I went back and I said, जो इतना कुछ पढ़ा है उसको अब अपने पे मैं ट्राई करती हूँ. Let me come out of this low point and then see what happens. And when I came out of it after a year, that's the whole idea where I want to go back to Chakra Yoga and work on the 7 energy centers. And that's when I thought of starting Chakra Yogis, which is the mother brand. And that's what I did. And luckily, I met another friend who invited me to UK to work for a sustainability brand. And then I started Chakra Yoga there, but that time I wasn't monetizing it. Then I moved to Dubai, and that's when I actually launched the brand. And then I became either be free session kiya, udhar bhi free session kiya, thoda thoda karke. Then I started getting clients.
So, does these relationships in your life play such a pivotal role for you to get into that weak nervous system? I'm sorry, I'm just not trying to be invading in your personal space, don't get me wrong, but does that have an impact because of which you claimed a little while ago that I myself, I'm into it, I know what it happens, something of that sort?
See, relationships of all kind make a lot of impact in your life. This could be a relationship with your father, mother, or a boyfriend. Um, so any kind of relationships, because at the end of the day, we are all working to not just make money. We make use of that money, and that use of that money is to, create those beautiful moments in the relationships we share. And people come into your life in different ways. And for me, it had to come some way. So it came through a person, and sometimes it came through an opportunity. But yeah, for me, I am someone who has taken a lot of decisions in my life based on the relationships I've been in. And like I said, I think I have no regrets in anyone I've met in my life, because they've always helped me, take another twist and a turn in my life, and it's been a new surprise. And it's overwhelming, because the first time when the new surprise happens in your life, it's very overwhelming, but it teaches you something so new, and you surprise yourself. And I love that. I love the fact that I've been able to surprise myself every time whenever I undervalued myself, which we do, especially if we've had one job for the longest time, or we've been in one relationship, like they say, it gets stale. So for me, new people in my life have helped me spice it up. And I think I also chose to be endearing, which I really, really would encourage everyone to be. Please be endearing. Uh, Opportunities in life coming to you is very much you going to them, and that is only when you become endearing. So do that. Be endearing. There's so many things that can open up for you.
And we'll get into that shortly to know more about it and about your initiative. In the meantime, Sanjay has already raised his hand. He would like to ask you a question. Sanjay, I'll come to you. Thank you for raising your hand. You know the drill, how it works. We are just having our first set of conversation, and then I will open it up for the audience, so stay patient. In the meantime, the people who have just joined in between the conversation, for your information, अगर आपको कोई सवाल करना है शिवली से directly, please you can raise your hand, or you can put your question in the chat box. I can ask those questions on your behalf. So moving back to the conversation, Shivli, would like to know more. It is 5:39. We have another 20 odd minutes to go for GLIBTALK 5.0 to get over. But before that, would like to know more about Wow Life, about your initiative that you have launched. What exactly do you do? What exactly do you teach? How exactly do you do it? What are your success criterions? This is also kind of a new, you're on your entrepreneurial journey. You have your set of struggle period, your lessons learned, etc. If you can just give a quick overview.
So when I launched Chakra Yogis in Dubai, I was there for 3 years. I went through my struggle period there. Did not know anyone, and I actually was asked to come there to professionally set up a yoga studio, because my background was in chakra yoga. So I set up that studio, all of that worked out. And then sadly, उस studio का financial भाग गया. And that studio had to shut within 3 months. And then I was left with, okay, ab kya kare? I'm still here. I still have my visa. Let's try and do something. So after years of, getting into a decent position in media, but you have to understand the fact when you start something new and it's your baby, kuch sharam nahi aani chahiye. You should really go out and approach people. Easier said than done, but tabhi hoga, karne se hi hota hai. And that's what I did. I started going to different studios. I started giving free sessions, and actually not free. I made sure they were donation-based sessions because I truly believe, not from a spiritual point of view, there is an exchange of energy. जब आप एक exchange करते हैं, then you always value it more. So it's great to, yes, give what you can to the world in terms of your learning and share it with people, but it's also important that they value it. And you can't force value anyone. You have to make them themselves naturally value something that they're getting, especially learning or services. प्रोडक्ट्स को लोग बहुत जल्दी वैल्यू कर लेते हैं. कोई प्रोडक्ट होता है, वो ग्लास या पर्स या व्हाटएवर, बट जो सर्विसेज होती है,
tangible, yeah.
So the intangible stuff is something that people really take a lot of time to value, and they really think 20 times before investing in that. Unless it becomes fashionable, unless it becomes a facade, it's something that everyone's doing it, so I gotta do it kind of a thing. So wo 3 saal chakra yogis ko base karne ke baad, then the corona thing happened, and I was worried about my parents, and I decided to come back from Dubai. And I also knew the expats were going, and expats were my clients. So I said, मेरी तो दुकानें चलने नहीं वाली, तो और अगर चलेगी भी तो I'll have to go back at certain time. It's not the time to stay there and all of that. So I came here, and then we all had the time to mull. We all had the time to turn into that lovely wine. I really think that lockdown period was when we truly came out in our colors, because the lockdown time is the time nobody could hide from themselves. I truthfully believe, I genuinely believe everyone who's come out of the lockdown has had an opportunity to really see the mirror, really reflect on themselves. Now, what have they come out with is up to them. And for me, I came out with the thing that if I'm going to launch a brand in India, because spirituality in India comes from India and all of that, and yoga, everyone pretty much get it every round corner, and it is something people have been practicing. And I was very sure that, what I want to do is I want to try and break the myths of wellness. Because it became all about cult in India, कि एक cult है, एक बाबा जी हैं, या 4 postures कर लिए तो आपको spirituality, you will see the light and everything will be clear. I wanted people to understand that this is something that, firstly, this is also work. Living a healthy lifestyle is not something कि आप बैठोगे और peace, joy और happiness और fulfillment आ जाएगी. आ जाती तो क्या बात है. But this is working on yourself.
Right.
When will people start doing that? When will people start wanting to invest in this intangible thing, which is self? When will they stop taking it for granted? When will they start, that self-love concept को इतना hashtag तो करते हो, but उसको आप अपनी life में use करते हो या नहीं? And I think we needed, I believe that, and I would like to humbly say that I think we need wellness brands out there to come and not just offer services कि आप ये ले लो, ये join कर लो, but also educate people कि क्यों करो, आपके लिए क्यों फायदेमंद है, और आप बैठ के सुनो. I don't need to do 20,000 things to move to do your attention. If I'm saying something, listen for your own good.
Correct.
And there is nothing called shortcut. There are no 5 tips and you're done. And we make those videos. Even I have to make those videos because I have to be a part of that. See, what you need to understand when you start a brand, be authentic, be who you are. You have to live within the structure, the blueprint. लोग 5 टिप्स दे रहे हैं, आप भी दो, बट आप अपने स्टाइल में दो, और आप उसके एंड में जरूर बोलो कि 5 टिप्स करने में भी मेहनत लगेगी. So don't cheat the audience, don't lie to people. So That's what the Wow Life was about. The Wow Life is about simply in one line, when you remove the mess out of your life, it turns into wellness. And that's what I do. I help people clear the mess out of their life from 7 point of views. So I play multiple roles as a wellness companion, and I like calling myself a companion because I'm playing these roles as a counselor emotionally. I'm working as a trainer physically, as a consultant when it comes to your channelizing and working towards your goals and needs. When I work for you as a guide spiritually, intellectually, I'm someone who is your companion and your supporter. I work as a consultant. So there are different roles. I'm socially, I'm your manager. If you're someone who is hesitant about going out and approaching things and approaching someone, I help you on your social skills. So I believe there's 7 aspects of life that are a part of your relationship, which the brand stands for. And I play all these multiple roles, and I'm your companion in this life's journey that you're taking, so that you enjoy this journey fully. Why do you want to be born to just survive? I think you should be alive. That's what I feel, and that's what I help people do, and I try and practice the same.
So in that context, particularly, Bharat is asking a question. I think he is in our audience. Bharat said, "What is your contact details for Wow Now, or if you have a website or email ID?" Yes, she has a website and she has her email ID, and he's asking, "Can I benefit from it from being in Bombay, or do I have to be in Delhi NCR to be a part of Wow?" Would you like to answer that question, please?
No, you can definitely benefit from it anywhere in the world where you are. If you want to have a better lifestyle, you want to upcycle your lifestyle, you want to take care of yourself. I'm virtually also very effective. So yes, you can take our services. I predominantly I choose to work one-on-one with my clients. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm sorry.
So I like to work one-on-one with my clients. I meet them 8 times a month, which is twice a week. And then separately, people who don't have time, we do retreats for them or workshops. So this can be done virtually or it can be done in person.
So is your email address wellness with Shivli one word at gmail.com? Am I correct?
That's my personal. That was only for you.
Okay, okay. Would you mind typing it there in the chat box, Shivli?
No. So you can email me. I have another professional personal one, which is shivli@thewowlife.in.
So it's SHIVLI @thewowlife.in, right?
That's the website also, thewowlife.in.
Right.
And yeah, I'll be very happy to answer any of your questions there.
So Bharat, I have mentioned her email address, and the website address is thewowlife.in. If you want to just go ahead to any of the browsers, you can just see it yourself, that what exactly Shivli is doing and trying to, what are her endeavors through Wow Life as an initiative. Uh, Gayatri is mentioning an awesome, multifaceted personality. Kudos to you. Best wishes to your future and endeavors. So thank you, Gayatri. Sanjay, I'm coming to you. Why don't you quickly unmute yourself and show your video and quickly ask your question to Shivli?
Yeah, Shivliji, I wanted to ask, what's your hobbies and interest?
My hobbies and interest. Okay.
Yeah.
So I love anything related to art. These days, my latest hobby is pottery. I love learning pottery, and I also people watching is one of my biggest hobbies. I love watching people, and I love thinking कि क्या चल रहा है. जैसे for example एक coffee shop सामने दो लोग बैठे हैं, इनके बीच में अभी क्या चल रहा है. So I think that comes very naturally to me, and then I'm kind of thinking of a story. क्या ये लोग लड़के आए हैं, क्या ये लोग प्यार में हैं, क्या इनके क्या background में चल रहा है, how are they trying to fix it, what made them come here. So people watching is one of my very big hobbies, and I learn from that also. And otherwise, I love pottery, and it's something that I'm learning these days. But yeah, I just love any kind of art form. Theater में मुझे कितनी देर भी बिठा लो, मैं आराम से plays देख सकती हूँ.
एक poetry हो जाए?
हाँ?
एक poetry हो जाए आपसे? Something in one of your favorites, probably. I'm sure, Sanjay, that would be your next question, knowing you as my audience.
दो चार लाइन बना दीजिए.
Okay, I'll have to use my phone because I
Yeah,
don't.
please go ahead. We are not pros. You are there learning. So, absolutely, you're more than welcome. In the meantime, Shivli is actually looking for her favorite poetry and she's going to recite it for us. I'm sorry, I didn't want to put you at a spot, Shivli, but
Oh
since
no, it's
you are,
okay.
since
I'll just
you
become better. That's all.
are so, in the meantime, if you have any questions, guys, please feel free to raise your hand. This is Glib Talk. There is nothing serious we talk. We learn about their, an individual's journey, their personality, their success, and failure stories. What exactly have made them what they are? What exactly they have gone through in their life to become what they have become today. So that's what Glib Talk is. It's an initiative that I do every Sunday from 5 to 6 in the evening. So I think Shivli has found her favorite poetry and she is going to recite it for us. Here she goes.
Favorite तो पता नहीं, but जो है मैं पढ़ लेती हूँ. Um, it says, किताबों के पन्ने पलट के सोचते हैं, यूं ही पलट जाए जिंदगी तो क्या बात है. तमन्ना जो पूरी हो ख्वाबों में, हकीकत बन जाए तो क्या बात है. हकीकत भी तो एक ख्वाब की ही तरह है, खूबसूरत ना सही, उसकी भी ही एक तमन्ना है. वो उसी किताब की एक कहानी बनना चाहती है, जिसके पन्ने पलटते ही एक नई उम्मीद नजर आती है.
क्या बात है! You are a poet and we did not even know it. Wow! Is that ये तो आपने कभी बताया नहीं? Part of Wow Life, Chakra Yoga, Wellness Companion, and all the 7 steps that you mentioned. This is the hidden side of you. Wow!
स्ट्रगलिंग पीरियड में ये उम्मीद वाली शायरी निकल के आई.
No, that was really nice. वो देखो मुझे तो आता नहीं है सब मुझे बचपन से एक सीखा था. सो आई ऑलवेज कोई भी फोरम में अगर कोई मुझे कहता है ना कि एक शायरी कर दो या फिर एक नज़म सुना दो या फिर एक पोएट्री कर दो, मुझे एक ही आता है, वो मैं करता रहता हूँ. सो दैट हैज बिकम रियली रियली वेरी बोरिंग. सो आई डोंट वांट टू स्पॉइल द पर्टिकुलर स्पिरिट right now. But Shivli, what is your future plan? I mean, what are you trying to achieve? And do you think and I'll be again asking you a very, very straightforward question. Do you see a bright future? And I don't want to, give you a very feel good factor and try to be a little mushy and say, wow, fantastic initiative. You will rock. Phenomenal. Matlab, to this is the next rage and the sensation in the making, right? I am saying that you being the founder of this particular initiative, and you are not the only one. There are so many around, right? The competition is equally very much on the higher side. Do you really see it going to the next elevation period, or do you have different plans to take it to the next level by doing something very, very different from the others?
See, like I said, doing something or for it to stand out from the crowd is the first step that I've taken is my team. And I think one of the people from my team, actually, my co founder just joined. So I have a partner that I found, and she has been extremely kind and generous and extremely supportive. But I am collecting a lot of interesting people in my life, including you, Samarth, because I think how a brand goes anywhere or it's remembered is for who you are and who you truly stand for.
Did you mention my name? Did I hear you correct?
Yes, yes, I did.
You made my evening. Go ahead.
So the thing is that हम लोग जितना भी मजाक करते हैं, हम एक बहुत serious job करते हैं as wellness coaches or as a counselor. I get clients who are going through some very intense things in my life, and I also get clients who are going through something extremely, which could be very fickle for someone. मेरे पास clients आते हैं जो they've been trying to lose weight all their life, और मेरे पास clients आते हैं who've gone through massive depression in their life, or they're cheating on something or themselves or all of that. One thing that I've learned, and I think one of the reasons the brand's going to go places is, and hopefully it does, or even if it doesn't go places, it will go to people's heart. That I can say a little confidently, is the fact that we don't judge people, and we are no one to judge anyone. And which is also the reason I authentically share my story, because if I can't do it, how will people start sharing unabashedly? And the idea is they should feel secure when they come to me. Someone who is getting judged by their parents or the society or the bosses and all of that, अगर वो एक wellness companion और एक coach या और एक counselor के पास एक खुल के बात नहीं कर सकेगा, उनको trust नहीं कर पाएगा, तो फिर वो कहाँ जाएगा? you know. So at the end of the day, the only way any brand has longevity or vitality is the fact that you should have good team, you should have a good network, and that network should not be just networking for the, if people like you, your work is good, उसको टाइम लग सकता है बट वो चलेगा. आपने भी वो एक्सपीरियंस किया है, आपने मेरे साथ शेयर किया था. So I'm very blessed to have a lovely partner. Her name's Leera Gupta, and वो हमेशा बैक सीट पे रहती है, बट वो बहुत स्वीट है. And then I have a wonderful team, Tanya and Shraddha, two lovely girls who literally working for peanuts for me because they believe in the brand. तो अगर 3 लोग ऐसे हैं रैंडमली जिनको मैं मिली हूँ, जो एक लड़की सडनली कहीं से आ गई है 5 साल से बाहर होके, पहले मीडिया में थी, अगर वो मेरे में इतना फेथ देना चाहते हैं तो मैं तो अपना दूंगी पूरा 100%. एंड द बिगेस्ट थिंग इज व्हेन आई हैड माय क्लाइंट्स, जब मैं चार्ज करती थी, नहीं चार्ज करती थी, आई हैव सीन देम मेक अ डिफरेंस इन देयर लाइफ एंड दे आर स्टिल अ पार्ट ऑफ माय लाइफ. इवन इफ दे आर नॉट माय क्लाइंट, दे आर माय फैमिली नाउ. तो वो चाहे मेरे को 5 साल बाद फोन करते हैं, 6 साल बाद फोन करते हैं, दे लाइक द फैक्ट दैट I can be someone who can be a very hard taskmaster because I'm looking out for them. But at the same time, I can always crack a joke and bring a smile to their face. And they do the same for me because now they are also their own therapists because I don't like being a crutch. Um, so for me, also, what is very important that you should be very, very if a client needs 10 sessions, they need 10 sessions. I will not make them 12 sessions. So for me, that's very, very important. So I think अपनी एक authenticity बना के रखनी चाहिए.
I think you always, I mean, ever since I've started speaking to you, the only word that I can recall every time when Shivli just comes to your head, that authenticity, being authentic, authenticity, being authentic. I think, sorry, that's what the key learning that I have from you as a human, that how to be authentic and how to preach for authenticity to everybody, whomsoever around you talk, because that proves your mettle, that proves your credibility as a human being, that how strong you are in your own integrity. Because an individual without integrity, or so much of fallacies, certain, how do I even word it, defiling status of mind where they are having a different set of an intention. Because let me be very honest, there are so many creeps there in the world, right? I have seen it myself, and I'm sure you being a woman, you face it day in and day out, because your purpose of and vision being on the social media platform is very, very different, that you want to cater to somebody, but you get creeps around trying to, you know what I mean, right? So it's extremely difficult, Shivli. I think it's like you're fighting multiple battles to win a war. Uh, and the best wishes are always there. Since you said that if I could be any part of any of your journey, anything that I can bring some value proposition on the table, I'm always there, just a call away,
You
right?
already are. You already are. We all are. Anyone who's actually even in this part of this live session right now, or will get to see the video later, we all have an impact some way or the other. So
Right.
there is no reason that imagine. I think हम दोनों जो कर रहे हैं वो कुछ नहीं है compared to people listening.
Correct.
Listening is something you need a lot of patience. That's a skill. So people need to. So as a wellness companion, मैं क्या करती हूँ? लोगों को यही realize करती हूँ कि आपके पास पहले से ही skill है. आप मुझे 1 घंटा मेरे को और समर्थ को सुन रहे हैं और आप हमसे जो भी सीख सकते हैं या ले जा सकते हैं, हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं, बट वो आप क्या लेके जाएंगे वो आप.
आपके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है.
And I congratulate everyone who's been a part and been so patient to listen to us, and it makes me feel, wow, it's so nice. I think that's why I called it the wow life, because I wanted to feel wow all the time. I was manifesting it.
My name is Samrat. At least you two say it correctly, na? Huh?
I'm
You should. I would kill you. I would kill you for
What is in the name?
what is the name? Oh my God. Okay. All right. With this, we are at the very last section. We're just about to be 6, but I definitely do not want to let it go without asking this particular question to you, Shivli. The question is, when you have a problem, when you need a therapist, because we are human beings, right? The doctors also need doctors for themselves. So when you go through certain stages and factors in your life, in your journey ahead, whom do you go to? Who is your therapist?
So one thing is very important that I would like to share. If you're someone who's very weak for yourself, does not mean you will be weak for others. You'll be very surprised that if you are going through something, you can still actually be very, very helpful to others. And and it's so nice that this has come around circle that my mother is being my go-to person. Even with her manic depression, it doesn't make her a weak woman at all. She still has the most articulate and the most interesting point of view to give me, and the support to give me. She's made my father the man he is, I'm very lucky that I can go up to them and speak about any kind of challenges that I'm facing in my life. And yeah, it's my mother that I go to, and if and trust me, the idea is the other thing that I do is I really, really, if I reach a point where I have had clients who are going through a lot of things, I myself go to a therapist, because there is no shame. We always go for retreats as wellness coaches ourselves, and not just to learn but to detoxify ourselves mentally also, because we also need our breaks. And the best thing that I do, and I try and go and make a complete fool out of myself, and that just, yeah, that brings me back to, being up and running.
Great knowing you, Shivli. I really, really thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for, leveraging that 1 hour and making it to a great learning session. Before we let you go, my sincere request, if you just could say probably a few good words about GLIBTALK as an initiative and Samrat, uh, I would be really, really grateful and thankful to you for your act of kindness so fervently.
So I would like to talk about lip talk from a point of view where, I think it's extremely passionate what you're doing, and secondly, the fact is, you're manifesting something very beautiful. You're not letting. You also very truthfully talk about how people, when you approach them, reject, and some people are so open and welcoming, and you share that journey, and you're on that journey. You're committed to that journey, and that's really, really wonderful. And I know you're starting a new chapter altogether, and I'm very excited to see that chapter come alive and be a part of it. And that's what it is. With Glib Talk, what I like is you continue to persevere, you continue to collect people who can influence other people, so you're creating that beautiful chain reaction of positivity. And what more do you want in life? So it's really nice, it's very, very nice. And I see, I wish you all the best. And why not? It'll be one of those really big talk shows one day. Everyone will be like, I want to be a part of it. I want to
Thank you so much. आपके मुंह में घी
I've already been a part of it. What are you talking about?
आपके मुंह में घी शक्कर चंदन रसगुल्ला और लड्डू अलग से भगवान करे एक दिन ऐसा कुछ हो जाए but yeah I think
Okay, yeah, I think I'm a celebrity in myself. Everyone listening to you is a celebrity in itself. And like you said, we are commoner celebrities. And if you're giving us a platform, you already have a show, which is great. I mean, the number of audience, are we going to a number? No. I think you should really value yourself from zero to wherever you are. ये भी नहीं था ना, तो अभी
ये
का
भी
वो घी शक्कर क्या हाँ, तो यही घी शक्कर अभी के लिए जिंदगी कोरोना ने बताया कि कल जिंदगी नहीं हुई, तो तुमने तो घी शक्कर चख लिया, मैंने तो चख लिया.
Well, as Shivli has rightly mentioned, that GLIBTALK is about to embark upon its new journey and a new chapter called GLIBTALK Academia. Well, very soon in the month of March, you will get to know about GLIBTALK Academia, which is going to be a learning forum, pure and pure learning forum for all of you and everyone. It's free. It means it's absolutely free. And you will see a lot of my previous GLIBTALK guests, along with Shivli today, who would be a part of GLIBTALK Academia as a learning session, where I would be conducting few sessions myself to enhance knowledge and have a knowledge exchange program. So stay tuned in the WhatsApp group, in our Facebook and Instagram social handles to know more about GLIBTALK Academia, where one of my previous guests, right from the initial days of GLIBTALK, is going to be coming and teaching us a powerful 1 hour, a power-packed learning session that we are coming up with. So thank you very much, Shivli. I wish you fantastic life ahead. You are doing a noble task. ये बहुत मुश्किल होता है Yes, of course, you have to monetize, you have to earn your living, and you have a different sort of vision, but not a lot they do it out there. It is so transactional outside. It is so much that you have to give and take, but your term of wellness companion is something very unique, which I've never heard. I've heard coaches. I have, and you are also mentioning that lifestyle coach you are, but that wellness companion is the unique thing I think which will take you to the next level in your journey ahead. So Tahe Dil se, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. Thank you very much for coming and saying yes to this initiative. Glib Talk Academia is there, and we have already spoken in bits and pieces about it, and we will talk more. And for any of your help, I'm just a call away. So please feel free to just let me know if I could be of any help.
That's very, very sweet of you. Thank you so much. I just want to say one line is please invest in your wellness. Do not undermine your mental health. Start talking to people, supporting people, being there for people. And two key words that I want to give away as I go in wellness is choose and allow. Choose to live a healthier, happier life. Allow yourself to love yourself and value yourself. And I'm so glad and thankful for you to taking out all this out of me that I shared. And thank you for everyone listening to us. Thank you so much.
Please connect with Shivli on LinkedIn. Just type Shivli Bembey. You would find her on LinkedIn. Please go to the wowlive.in and you already have her email address. And there's a 7-step, I mean, phenomenal experience that you will get to learn from her. So I would, and that's not free of cost, definitely. So please get in touch. She's part of the WhatsApp group. You can get in touch with her there and take your life to a different wellness level than what she has on. Thank you very much once again, everyone. Take care, Shivli. Wonderful. Stay safe. God bless you all. We shall see you next week with another wonderful guest who's going to be part of GLIBTALK 5.1. Till then, stay safe. Take care. Thank you.